What if the fastest car in Monaco isn't the Red Bull or the McLaren, but a Ferrari so perfectly tuned it's making people inside the team uncomfortable? What if the real threat to the Formula One status quo isn't a new engine or a clever bit of aerodynamics, but one driver's refusal to play it safe and a setup so sharp it's sparking quiet debates in Maranello's back rooms? That's the reality Ferrari is now facing. Lewis Hamilton, armed with experience, instinct, and a deep understanding of street circuit warfare, has turned Monaco into a showcase for something the sport rarely sees: a car so in sync with its driver that it looks almost unfair. The whispers have started. Engineers who normally argue over half-millimetre ride height changes are now wondering whether what they've created is too effective, too aggressive, too far outside Ferrari's comfort zone. It's not illegal, not yet, but it's pushing the boundaries of what Ferrari usually allows. And that's making the old guard nervous. Because this isn't just about setup sheets or data traces anymore. This is about what happens when one of the greatest drivers in F1 history dares to reshape how a legendary team races. And the question Ferrari now has to answer is painfully simple. Can they handle the speed they've just unlocked? This wasn't supposed to happen. Ferrari, the team that's been tripping over its own feet on Saturdays all season, suddenly looked unbeatable at the one track where qualifying is everything. Monaco isn't a place where you can bluff your way to the front. It's tight, it's twisty, and it punishes hesitation. And yet, Hamilton's car didn't just survive it, it came alive. From the first practice session, there was a quiet sense that something was off, but in a good way. His Ferrari was turning in cleaner, holding grip longer, and dancing through the corners with a confidence no one expected. While others struggled to keep their cars stable through the slow sections, Hamilton looked like he was driving on rails. Engineers started checking the data twice. Rival teams began asking quiet questions. And inside the paddock, the buzz grew louder. Something is different about that car. Maybe too different. The same Ferrari that's been plagued by understeer and cautious setups was suddenly the benchmark. But not everyone in red was celebrating. Because the more impressive Hamilton looked, the more it exposed a truth some didn't want to face. He might have found a setup so good it's making Ferrari question their own limits. The strange part is, nothing Hamilton did technically broke the rules. His setup isn't illegal, at least not according to the rule book. But it bends just about every line Ferrari usually refuses to cross. He asked for changes that made some of the team's most senior engineers shift uncomfortably in their chairs. Ride height, lower than they've dared all season, scraping the limits of what's safe on Monaco's uneven streets. Rear rotation, cranked up so high that one small mistake could have sent the car spinning. Then there's the diff preload and anti-roll bar, stiff enough to keep the rear planted under stress, but so aggressive it could easily fry the tyres if the driver doesn't treat them with absolute care. But that's the thing. Hamilton can. He's not just fast, he's controlled. While most drivers would shred their rubber in a few laps, he somehow keeps them alive. That's why this setup works. It's not a general Ferrari solution, it's a Hamilton solution. And that's where the team starts to split. Some inside Maranello quietly praise the bravery, even call it genius. Others say it's reckless, a one-off trick that can't be repeated, or worse, something that goes against the spirit of how Ferrari builds its cars. In a place where tradition runs deep and caution often wins arguments, Hamilton's bold approach is both a breakthrough and a threat. But this battle isn't just about numbers on a setup sheet or a few tweaks to the car. It runs much deeper, a real struggle inside Ferrari itself. On one side, you have the old guard, those who believe in playing it safe, following tried and true methods, and respecting the team's traditions. On the other, there are the progressives, those willing to push boundaries, try bold ideas, and trust the driver's instinct over cautious engineering. Hamilton finds himself once again at the centre of this fight, challenging the team's conservative mindset with every lap he completes. The word ban has quietly started to float around the factory, not because what he's doing breaks any formal rules, but because it challenges everything Ferrari has stood for in recent years. It's a clash between innovation and preservation, between daring and fear. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc's camp watches closely, caught in a tough position. Should they embrace Hamilton's radical setup and risk everything? or stick to the safer path that's brought them less glory but more certainty. This internal conflict is tearing at the heart of Ferrari, making the team's future feel as uncertain as ever. When you put aside all the rumours and drama, the data from Monaco tells a clear story. Hamilton's lap times in the slow corners were faster than anyone else's, not just his teammates, but rivals from other teams too. The way his car rotated through these tricky bends was unlike anything the SF25 had shown before, almost as if it was finally coming alive in Hamilton's hands. What's even more impressive is how well he managed his tyres. Normally, pushing a setup this aggressive would destroy the rubber early, but Hamilton's smooth driving style kept tyre degradation much lower than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, his race engineer, Riccardo Adami, has been a quiet but strong supporter of the setup. He calls it driver-specific, meaning it only works because Hamilton knows exactly how to handle it, and insists it's not dangerous, just different. The numbers don't lie. This setup is a game changer, but it's one that only the right driver can unlock. It's Charles Leclerc's home race, the place where he wants to shine the most, but this time, Hamilton's influence is impossible to ignore. The car on track feels like Hamilton's creation more than anyone else's, and that puts Charles in a tough spot. He's caught between sticking with the safe setup he knows or taking a leap of faith and trusting Hamilton's risky, untested approach. Inside the team, Charles isn't speaking out loud about his feelings, but his silence says a lot. Everyone knows he's under pressure. If Hamilton pulls off a win at Monaco with this setup, Charles risks being overshadowed on his own turf. It's a political subplot playing out behind the scenes, where loyalty, ambition, and team dynamics mix in ways that could change how Ferrari moves forward. Ferrari's story has always been about a delicate balance between bold genius and cautious tradition. The team's history is full of moments when innovation pushed them to the very top, like during Schumacher's era, when daring ideas and fearless engineering led to unforgettable victories. But just as often, Ferrari has been held back by the fear of stepping too far beyond what's comfortable and safe. This setup, as radical as it seems, isn't the real threat. The real danger lies in that fear of change itself. Hamilton is pulling Ferrari toward a new future, challenging old habits and demanding trust in boldness, whether the team feels ready or not. It's not just about winning races anymore. It's about finding the courage to embrace the unknown and rediscover the fighting spirit that once defined the prancing horse. Hamilton isn't simply asking for a faster car, he's asking Ferrari to believe in something bigger, to believe in the extraordinary again. The calls to ban it aren't really about the rulebook or safety standards. They're about a deeper resistance to taking risks, a fear of stepping outside the comfort zone. Monaco, with its narrow streets and unforgiving corners, has become more than just a race. It's a symbol of what's at stake for Ferrari. The team faces a choice: to embrace bold, radical brilliance or to stay stuck in a cycle of safe, predictable mediocrity. This battle goes beyond cars and setups. It's a fight for the soul of Ferrari itself. It's about whether they're willing to change, to trust their champion, and to risk everything for greatness once more. If Ferrari decides to fully back Hamilton now, it could light a fire under their entire season and spark a real title challenge. But if they hold back, hesitate, or reject his ideas, they risk losing far more than just a race in Monaco. This moment isn't just another weekend on the calendar. It's a turning point that could shape everything that follows. Momentum, trust within the team, and the legacy Ferrari wants to build are all hanging in the balance. Because sometimes, the scariest thing in Formula One isn't the rival out on the track. It's a teammate with nothing to lose and everything to prove.